And we're live! Hello, everybody! Sorry if that was loud. It is so great to be back for Self-Care Sunday! I got my cat Tiffy here. Say hello, Tiffy. Oh, she kind of waved. I'm like, maybe we can get a better angle. So great. Hello and welcome, Artemis Peters, Neris H. And Neris, I know you were on the Wolf 359 live stream, the Patreon live stream a little bit ago, and I just wanted to call myself out for pronouncing your name wrong for so long after getting it right the first time. Brain fart, and thank you to the other people in the community who bubbled that up to me. Because I never want to, if you are a fan of Wolf 359, the radio drama that I do, I never want to pull a Doug Eiffel with anybody and just like be poking that stupid button of like, I don't know your name and I don't care enough to like figure that out and correct it. So thank you for correcting me. If I mess up your name, and I probably will, and it's important to you that I get it right, please let me know. And if you feel comfortable asking a friend, that's cool. So thanks. And Neris, like Eris from the Wolf 359 special, but with an N, that helps. Like if you like send me that, because then I can actually like phonetically put it together. Emir, Perla Gill, Avery N, Alsha Brown, so great to see you guys, and really exciting to see some familiar names from drumroll please, something I'm going to be announcing later, which if you haven't heard, write a script in November, Wriscrivember, we'll be talking about that. But before we get into that, I want to introduce a special guest of mine who is a friend who is actually right over there. It's the first time I'm not like alone in the room with like somebody who's not like on an interview immediately. And yeah, I'm just really happy to have you here, and this should be fun. And if we have time at the end, we're going to jump into a conversation that we were just talking about a bunch of stuff earlier today, like sort of in the area of like self-care and how our lives are helped and not by social media, and like maybe finding some balance there. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about Wriscrivember and then introduce an amazing audio drama guest, audio dramatist Alex Brown, who creates the Bridge podcast, which I will share about in a moment. But without further ado, I'd love to just welcome Alex into the chat. We have her for like 10 minutes. I think you can hear her cat. Alex.
Yes, that is my cat. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Yay! Hi.
Awesome.
Hope everyone's doing well today.
And so up top is the link. The website is thebridgepod.com, and it is so great to have you here, Alex. It's funny, the computer is here, but your head is over here, so it's going to look like I'm looking at Tiffy while I'm talking to you, but that's okay. And in the future, I'll get that sorted out. Probably, maybe not, no promises. But yeah, it's fun. And I just like, I appreciate people not like worrying too much about the time. It's always going to be around 3 to 5-ish Eastern Standard Time. I've needed to make Self-Care Sundays my self-care time, and I noticed that it was becoming like a stressful thing. So that's why it's like a little bit less formal. But anyway, while we have you on the call, Alex, could you share a little bit about who you are and what the podcast that you do is about?
Sure, yeah. So, as Zach said, my name's Alex. And I started this podcast with my friend Rebecca, who also is a writer. We found each other on the like YA writer scene because we both really loved writing young adult fiction, and particularly science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And we both loved each other's work. We became critique partners, so we shared our stories. And Rebecca was the one who got me to start to listen to podcasts. And after a few years of listening to them, I was kind of just like, I feel like we could maybe try this ourselves. So we tossed around a few ideas, and then we finally landed on the show that we're doing now, which is called The Bridge. And it is a podcast about a group of people living in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. In the reality the podcast takes place in, there's a bridge that goes across the whole Atlantic Ocean, with ports on either side in a lot of different cities. And the bridge used to have a lot of cool things, like an amusement park with an underwater roller coaster, a lot of like little seaside towns, a very ritzy hotel that had a ballroom with like floor to ceiling glass windows, like just really, really fancy, but has since become abandoned. So the group of people who live out there live in kind of like a Jersey Turnpike style, like rest area essentially, and are charged with kind of broadcasting out traffic reports for like the people who don't drive on the bridge anymore. So the character that I play has decided not to do traffic reports anymore and instead just broadcast folk tales and stories about all the places that have been left behind. So there's also a slight kind of horror element to it, and some eldritch monsters get worked into the mix.
Love that. And
Yeah.
I know we got to start talking like about a year or two ago before you had started the podcast. And so it's been a joy for me to like see this process sort of unfold, like about halfway through my experience with Wolf. And so for context, the reason that Alex is here today is we started talking about Wriscrivember, which is a month writing community event that I want to announce today with you guys. I think I announced it last week, but like November's coming up this week. So like
soon. Yeah.
Wriscrivember, if you don't know, it's like NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, nanowrimo.org. You can learn more about that. I think a lot of you are familiar and maybe you've heard of friends doing it. Instead of writing 50,000 words for a novel, I was thinking it would be a cool use of November to write some scripts for like my various different projects. And like, for me, it's like, I just want to be more creative next month. Like if I don't hit the goal because I get busy, like that's okay. Like I had some family stuff happen last month and like got thrown off. And like, I just like think that there's kind of this, I notice in myself an unhealthy relationship to goals, and like an unrealistic relationship to goals. And so, we started talking about Wriscrivember, and I just wanted to have her on the show to sort of maybe capture some ideas out loud and also solicit some ideas from you guys, because I want to crowdsource this thing to make it whatever it wants to be, with just the idea being write scripts in November, and it can be an audio drama, it can be a movie, it can be a comic book. I have an idea for a contest that we could do for audio drama and audio dramatists who want to participate, where anybody that submits a script will be able to vote on other people's scripts, and whichever one wins, I'll produce. And at the very least, I can promise that I'll do all the voices and sound design and stuff. But I think other people in the community would be interested, and we'd love for it to be a Bandcamp style, pay what you want. All proceeds go to United for Puerto Rico, because I think it's important, and I think it's a fun way to get to create together and make a difference in the process. One of the reasons why we had so much to talk about, Alex, about Wriscrivember was because you had done NaNoWriMo. And I'd love to hear about that experience. And god dang, I'm so sorry. I realize you have to go.
Oh no, it's totally fine. I can hang out for a little bit.
Okay, but if you got to go for a work call, like I want you to feel free to leave. And if you can come back later, I think we can go until like, I don't know, 5 or so. If you're free later, but I don't want to.
I think I'll probably just hang out for like 10 minutes more here.
Okay, great.
Because once I go, I'm
gotta
gone
be gone
for the rest
okay,
of the
great.
day. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for being so flexible. And in the
no
future,
worries.
when I have you on, I'll be more responsible to get you out on time.
It's okay.
Awesome.
Today was just randomly busy, so
it's
just one of those days.
Also, just like now that I have this kind of template down, this is useful. I can just kind of leave my room this way for next week. Cool. So can you talk to us a little bit about why you'd be excited about Wriscrivember in light of your experience with NaNoWriMo?
Sure. Yeah. So National Novel Writing Month happens all of November, and the goal is to get you to write 50,000 words, which is awesome because if you, depending on what type of book you're writing, you could very well have like a full manuscript there. But for me, I think I've done it a few times. I managed to win it one time, and that was like very much like by the skin of my teeth, like trying to write every day. I think I was in grad school at the time, so I probably didn't write some grad school papers that I was supposed to write. Sorry, professors.
I love that.
It happens. It happens. So like I think for me it's a lot of fun, but there was also kind of this pressure to like I need to meet this word count, or like if I fall behind one day, then I have to write like 3,000 words in a day to catch up. And like while the goals were nice, like if you missed a couple days for some reason, you were just so behind, and if you had a lot of other stuff going on, it was hard to kind of like get back into it. And you know, they did a really nice job of like sending out like encouraging emails and messages to everyone and like writing advice, which was really cool, and something that I enjoyed. But I think for me, what I'm looking forward to with Wriscrivember is just kind of the free flow of it, and the structure that we do have, I think, allows for a lot more freedom. Especially like, you know, you can write that 90-page script, or you can write those like 3 podcast episodes. Like I'll definitely be working on some stuff for the bridge during that time that I'm super behind on. Sorry, anyone who listens to the show. But yeah, I think, you know, the kind of just like choose your own adventure style of it speaks to it a little bit more. And I'll definitely be trying to do Nano as well, but like a more shortened version. Like I think I'm only shooting for like 30,000 words in November, rather than like 50,000, because that's, yeah, you know, it's like I can probably handle my job and helping run the podcast and maybe writing scripts and stuff. So, you know, it's all about time management.
That's amazing. And what I love about that too is like I definitely don't see this as mutually exclusive from NaNoWriMo, and maybe like a useful procrastination in the way that like my writing benefits from taking 15 minutes to open Ableton and like yell into a microphone and make weird music. And like, you know, in that same way, like I find that like just shifting gears creatively is helpful for me. So that's why I'm excited to like write a YouTube script one day, and then like write maybe like a longer form podcast episode, or like a documentary thing that I don't know if it's video or audio, but it is something that's like something I want to say about. I've had just a couple people pass in the last 2 years, and just I have like a longer form thing that I haven't in like when I was doing weekly YouTube videos that killed me because it was like 30 hours a week. Like I just didn't have the time to work on longer form stuff, which I think is both better for my brain and better for audiences. And so just like the stream is a great way to keep showing up every week without like losing so much time to work on something for like an extended period of time. Because Hamilton didn't happen overnight. Like
right.
He like worked on that for like a decade. And that's amazing. And like worked on it with a bunch of people like just as smarter than him. And like I feel like with Wolf, I got to work with somebody like a bunch of people, like everybody way smarter than me, and like more talented, and just like learn from all of them. And so yeah, so I guess like do you write with a buddy?
It depends. For the bridge, Rebecca and I collaborate on every script, and then we've pulled a couple other of our writer friends in who are also actors on the show to help us out with scripts and whatnot too. So probably on the script end, I'll definitely collaborate. Usually with the books, it's kind of just me floating out there in the abyss on my own. But that's, I think, where friends can really be utilized, is to like bounce ideas off of each other. So like I'll like shoot a thought to like Rebecca or to some of my other writing friends and just kind of be like, hey, you know, what if I took the plot this way? Or like, does this even sound like it would work? And then kind of based off of their responses, they can help me sort of fine tune what I'm doing. But I found that like for big things like this, where it's like you just kind of got to like write the words and get them out, it's helpful to just sort of like not worry too much about what's happening. Like, I don't want to say like don't think too hard, but like you kind of just have to get the words on the page, and like that's what the revision process is for, and that's what like sending
that's what's
your
about this sort of a thing, right?
Yeah. Right, yeah, and that's like what sending your like scripts or like your novels or whatever to other people to read and like send feedback on is for. So like really like the point to me is just to like have the words out there and to start the thing. Like that's the most important thing, because like it's not going to write itself as much as I want it to. Like none of this stuff writes itself.
Right.
So like you really have to like find the time and like find, you know, the focus to kind of sit there and be like, okay, I'm gonna write as much as I can, and if I meet my goal today, I meet it, but if not, I have more than when I started.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. I guess to sort of wind down, what do you think you want to write about for Wriscrivember? More interestingly, what advice do you have for people who may not have an idea for an audio drama?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Like, how do you come up with good ideas for an audio drama?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is trying to figure out what inherently works with an audio drama, right? So like the reason that we went with the bridge is because originally it was an idea I had for a book, and like I tried to write that book 50 different ways, but like it just wasn't making any sense. And then Rebecca and I realized that like horror works really well when you just listen to something and aren't necessarily looking at something, because whatever you imagine is a lot worse than whatever we can put in front of your face, right? So I think it's just kind of figuring out what story you want to tell, and if, you know, the audio drama medium is the best way to do that.
Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah.
And for people who do have ideas, what would you say is what should they have their attention on? What should they ignore?
Ooh. Well, there's that old adage that like you really should ignore any writing advice that anyone ever gives you. So grain of salt everything I'm saying, because who knows?
I love that.
I'm like always very cognizant of that. I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I just hope that it works out. But
that's the most useful thing I think you could have said to everybody.
Yeah, like, you know, we all just make it up as we go along, and sometimes it's really great. Sometimes you need someone to give you some advice on that and fix it. But yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice is just to check out what other audio dramas are doing right now. The more scripts that you can get your hands on, the better, because that really gives you a good sense of like the format of things and the pacing of things. Like, and we give the same kind of general advice to like book writing and like, you know, YA books and everything, but like just be as genre savvy as you can. So like if you know you want to do some sort of sci-fi audio drama, like start listening to as many sci-fi audio dramas as you can get your headphones on, and just start to, you know, figure out like, oh, this show did this thing really well, or like, ooh, this show did that, like I don't want to do that. And like what are ways that you can like build upon and improve what other people have done, so that the genre just keeps evolving.
Right. And I guess that's like my secret agenda with Wriscrivember this year, is that the more people that are doing it, the more people more likely will be writing audio dramas. The more audio dramas there will be, the more people will introduce audio dramas to their friends and family to listen to theirs. The more audio drama listeners there will be in the world. So the more demand there will be for it. And, you know, I think that there is an economy that is wanting to exist that can be as revolutionarily distinct as representation has been in the best audio dramas, in the sense that artists can be paid more of what they're worth, and maybe the budgets are smaller, but proportionately it will speak to the value that like we as audiences have for the artists that make our entertainment. I think you can make more amazing things with less resources in audio drama than any other medium. Maybe except for novels, but it's a rich experience, and like a convenient device-friendly experience in a way that novels maybe will never be, and they're not designed for that, if that makes sense. So I'm really excited to like partner with people like you to support people who want to write audio dramas this November. And I'm going to be writing YouTube videos. I'm not even going to be writing an audio drama unless I have ideas for sketches. Yeah, if you guys want to write other things, let me know, and I'll have guests on that can speak to that, whether they're YouTube videos or things I don't even know about, like Medium posts, but like those aren't scripts really, unless it's like super avant-garde. But anyway, thank you for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'm
Yeah,
sure you'll
thank
be on
you.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to be on again.
Awesome. Check out the podcast.
Yeah, the bridge.
The
Woo.
bridge, thebridgepod.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Cool. Thanks. Bye, everybody. See ya.
See ya. Okay. Oh, where's the button?
Okay.
Aha. Oh, but then the other button. Nope, not that one. Wait. There we go. Woohoo! So yeah, so I guess I'm curious if there are people in the chat that are doing Wriscrivember. I'd love to hear about it and hear what you're thinking about writing. If it's not an audio drama, what is it? Like, if you are, no matter what you're writing, what questions do you have about writing? And I'm actually going to post up a link for those questions. 1 second. I'm just sharing a Google Drive doc link that anybody can edit. So please be respectful of other people's writing and don't delete it. Otherwise, we won't see stuff. So I just copied a link into the chat with writing questions. And normally I do forms, but I figure this is more useful so that people don't... form would probably have made more sense. But let's just move on. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to look at the chat and see things coming in. Type here 452 is wondering about... I don't know how to work on my second draft. Oh, wait, stop. Let's make before you put writing questions there. No, you're going to start putting writing questions. Let's make it writing questions and NaNoWriMo rules. So that way it's like, makes sense that it's a doc. Because the rules, that's something that like, I don't just want submissions on. Maybe, yeah, that's fine. There's too much of a lag to change it now that it's a thing. Not NaNoWriMo, Wriscrivember. Wow. Brain fart. Brain fart. Okay, so Bree, who says Nee, has a concept they want to work on, but can't think of like an actual plot for the concept. I have something for you. And I would love for you to, if you're in Wriscrivember, go to wriscrivember.org or writeascriptinnovember.org, where you can just sign up for emails. And I'm going to be sending out resources for that. And specifically, I already have an email scheduled with Dan Harmon's super basic shit story structure 101. No, Tiffy, be comfortable. No, don't leave. We have something special to do, Tiffy. Tiffy, what if I give you a present? This is from Rena. Do you guys see this? It's a inflatable cat unicorn horn to go with a regular unicorn, a human unicorn horn. Rhinoceros Rex and friends made this happen. I don't know who is responsible for this other than a couple. I know multiple people were involved. This is insane. So yeah, as I unicorn horn myself, you guys can keep sending in ideas and stuff. I'm glad you guys find this relatable. But yeah, I guess as you guys send in ideas about what you're going to write about, I'd also love to see if there are people that you'd want to write with, that you'd love to invite into Wriscrivember, even if they're not going to do the rules that I'm thinking about are a stretch goal of 90 pages, so it's like a full feature film. Then but like you can write anything. So it could be like 91 page like vines. Not that that's still a thing. Boo-hoo. But right. If you're tracking, 90 pages doesn't have to be anything specific. Could be multiple projects. I think the last rule that I was thinking of is like ideally finish one full draft. If you don't, you still win if you were more creative than the previous month. But yeah, those are sort of like the 3-4 main guidelines that I'm seeing. Everything other than that is like I'd love to see like a crowdsourced code of conduct for the community. I'll be sharing in those emails a Discord chat link to a writing community that will be the sort of like unofficial, official, just because this whole thing is unofficial. I mean, like, we're just making it up as we go along. So yeah, I guess if there's anybody that you'd want to work on a script with, I'd be curious who, and I'd be really excited for like as many of you want to share what this thing is about, because I think more people would like this than the number of people that like NaNoWriMo. And that's already a big thing that's been going on for 10 years. And like this could be a huge force for charity in addition to being an awesome way to activate latent creativity. So I just like am so excited to like see people introducing this to people in their community. And I actually have the first submission that I actually commissioned. And I want to start doing more of that with my personal Patreon, is commissioning work from other artists. I mostly use my Patreon to pay for faster internet, online software subscriptions to help me run communities like Typeform Premium, like things like I don't use MailChimp, but I'm deciding on which one I want to pay for to do email stuff. So like that's what you guys are investing in when you invest in my Patreon, is just like me as a creator and my facility to facilitate community with software tools that help. But now I want to build in like a fund for artists where it's like $50 a month for the foreseeable future. And like, I think 20% minimum, I think as it scales, should go towards commissioning original work at increasingly market rates. So that, because when I published with the Wall Street Journal, they paid me $400 to write that. That doesn't seem like a crazy amount of money for an op-ed. And I don't need a lot of op-eds for this to be like a more interesting show on Sundays in terms of featuring other people's work. So without further ado, I'd love to play for you this incredible draft that Alicia Workman made about Wriscrivember. There's actually 2 drafts. And Alicia, I see you're in the chat. If you could let me know if you're comfortable with me sharing both drafts, I would love that. And then we have one more draft in our agreement, and I'd love to then later publish the public version. But I want to show people what we've been working on. Is that okay? Turns and looks at chat. Okay, great. Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, that delay is kind of obnoxious. Okay, now I'm ready. Oh, sheesh. What are we doing? Yeah, we'll see if this... Yeah, whatever. One moment, everybody. In fact... Just gonna put on some hold music while we do this. Alrighty. Now I can actually search through my email and not feel like I'm just being boring. That is an interesting part of live streaming. It's just like when you're producing your own stuff and sort of like running the ship while enjoying the ship
Hey guys, what is up? So November is just around the corner, and you know what that means. Yep, that means it's time for...
One second. I don't want to spoil it. I'm just trying to download it. Jeez. I think you use the same music as this because it's a great album. Blue Dot Sessions is an awesome artist. All right. Actually, though, it'd be easier to just do this.
Hey guys, what is...
I know this is like scintillating television. All right. So for context, I'm going to be bringing back for November a daily podcast. I haven't quite decided the median yet. Like I might just be doing like daily updates on Anchor FM or Ents. It's probably going to be one of those two platforms. If you sign up for the Wriscrivember like newsletter, if you like by signing up on writeascriptinnovember.org, you'll get all of the links to these things. But yeah, I'm going to be sharing every day little audio bites, probably soliciting call-ins from people to share. I have a couple to play about ideas people have for this thing that I'm very excited about. One second. Let me actually play one right now. This is Anchor. It's one of the easier ways to make a podcast. I have a lot of problems with it, but I also think it's really promising. My biggest concern is that it's lost several of my recordings when I've went to share in a way that is unretrievable. And that to me is unacceptable in a podcasting creation app because reliability in your creative tools is critical. If you can't trust your tools, why are you using those tools? So I probably wouldn't really commit to doing important stuff with this as far as podcasting goes. I would use their feature to make something off the app and then upload it to the app, which then sort of defeats the purpose of it being an easy app to create with. But I think that its reliability will get better over time as they make their business work. But yeah, I definitely have had some trouble in counting on it, and I've lost some things that I really wish I had. Just like little moments that, you know, only happen once when the spirit moves you. And it's just like, it kills me when that stuff gets lost. So, but what is great about it is you can do call-ins and it's amazingly easy. Like that's my favorite thing about it is I can basically like ask you guys questions and then you guys can respond back and I can hear your actual voices without dealing with fucking phone numbers and things. So like, if you have questions and want to have a conversation about stuff like here, you can just go to Zach.fm and call in on Anchor at any time. It's like so much better than tweeting and stuff. Like voice is awesome. I'm trying a new app called Ents, but I don't want to talk about that right now because I haven't used it, so I have nothing to say. But just if you're somebody who's interested in this kind of stuff, it's like Sense without the S. And it's, yeah, I could talk more about it, but I won't. Let me just see if I have call-ins, because those are the best part, and that's what I want to share with you guys. All right. Interesting. Well, I don't know what this is about, but it's Bridget called with Bridge, aka, is calling in with ad scripts.
Hey, it's Bridget. I'm planning on doing these scripts for the audio drama I've got in the works for Wriscrivember, which has me really excited because the last time I wrote a script, it was terrible. So hopefully I'll be able to get some help on it. I know some people have already looked at least the first episode that I've already got a draft done for, but I want to get drafts done for other episodes, and I don't know, I guess see if anyone is interested in doing it with me, because I'd really like to, make it, honestly. I'm just so excited for my own idea. Is that bad?
No, it's awesome! Oh, sorry. So sorry. I am so sorry, everyone, for ruining your hearing. Whoa. Guys, I'm so sorry for that loudness. I just tried to make it louder so you could hear the call, and then I got excited. Apologies. Ugh. Just like future reference, don't wear headphones while listening to Self Care Sunday. I just think that that's like the best way to avoid deafness. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. I'm so sorry. Oh, no. Oh, God. Now the chats are coming in. Oh, it's catching up. It's so embarrassing. Oh, no. No. Anyway. Oh, God. Oh, it's so painful to watch that come in later. Just this delayed response. Anyway, so excited about that bridge. That's fucking awesome. That's exactly what I was hoping for when I had this stupid idea that's becoming way, way less dumb the more of you get involved. And it's like actually brilliant seeing some of the things you've suggested. I just like mentioned the contest, and there are a couple people working on a solution for like being able to judge the submissions in a way that's closed to only submitters, which is really cool. And so it's not a popularity contest. It really will be like merit of like only writers that have put in the work to hand in a draft will get to say what wins and gets produced. So you can't just like cheat or like have a bunch of other friends like team up. If you do, it'll have to be like really coordinated. And so there's just more trust in it, I think. And I also like that as much as I would love to read every script that comes in, I just don't have the time. So it means a lot to me that like the community can come together and do that work together so that then I get the script and can spend the time that I have recording and like getting like my friends in LA and like in New York who are in the audio drama world involved and see how big we can get this thing. 'Cause I just think that if we can play a game where everybody wins, and at the end of the day, if we fail, we have more creativity and self-care in the world. That sounds pretty sweet. If you sign up for Wriscrivember, we're going to be starting on November 1st, coming up this week. It's a drop-in policy, so people want to start late. Like, that's chill. If people like in your life want to join because it looks like you're having fun, like feel free to like extend the invitation, and I'll have like a catch-up email for them that just like has kind of all the resources to whatever week we are at that point or whatever day we're at. I'm not sure if I'm doing daily emails or weekly emails, and I'd actually love to know if you'd let me know in the comments or on Twitter. Don't do it in the chat now just because I can't track it because it moves really fast and I'm mostly not looking at it. But if you tweet at me at Zach Valenti or call in and just like let me know like how you want things to go for Wriscrivember, it'll help me drive the ship. Because largely I'm just going to be like on the top sail being like, where can we go? As like the thing is like maybe sinking. I don't know. I think it's been incredible so far to just like throw out ideas and see people run with them. And without further ado, I want to play this commission, which is going to be eventually in the third draft. We have one more iteration. The official, like in the daily podcast that I'm working on, the episode that I share that'll be like, this is the trailer for this year, and then next year will be a different thing. And I encourage all of you to make your own trailers for Wriscrivember. If you're interested in writing a nonfiction podcast, I'll have a lot to say about that, having done Focused AF, and have some ideas for you folks who may not have fiction ideas but still want to write a podcast. So we can talk about that, but without further ado, here's Alicia's promo. This is draft. I'll play draft 2, and then we'll listen to draft 1 and compare, because I think that's interesting. I'll play draft 2, and then we'll do another thing next weekend where I sort of go through both, like all 3 drafts, and we talk about how it came. This is where it is right now, and then I think it'll be fun to hear on Focused AF, on iTunes or Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you listen. Focused AF is going to be the official Wriscrivember podcast chat line. Aside, like, and I'll announce, basically just like, if you don't want daily updates, go there. It'll probably be once a week there. And then one of these apps will have call-ins that'll be part of that show. So we'll work it out. I have a problem with like preamble, and this is part of it because I'm just doing more of it, and it's just more, and now it's more, and now.
Up! So November is...
Nope, that's the first draft, sorry.
Excuse me, would you guys be interested in signing up for Wriscrivember?
What?
Hi, can I interest you guys in signing up for Wriscrivember?
For what? For what?
Can I interest you in signing up for Wriscrivember?
What's that?
It's like writing a novel, like for National Novel Writing Month, except
cool,
for
I do
scripts.
that.
You
Sounds
do that?
fun.
You should sign up.
Ever wanted to do National Novel Writing Month, but for scripts? Ever even thought about wanting to challenge yourself creatively? Head on over to writeascriptinnovember.org for more information.
I'm so fucking proud of you, Alicia. This is so... I have to play the first draft. I can't wait for next week. The first draft was great. And like, so you're going to hear in the first draft what works about Alicia's podcasting here is she, first of all, has a phenomenal voice, and like, you shouldn't let your voice be what doesn't get you into podcasting, because I think there's something special about everyone's voice, and I just think that like there's a joy that is palpable and excitement for the like creating the medium that I can hear in this, and it is really well written, like it's clear and there's all the information, and then I saw like an opportunity to make it like what I'll call more raw. I don't know. I'll play this and then show you how we got to that.
Just around the corner, and you know what that means. Hey guys, what is up? So November is just around the corner, and you know what that means. Yep, that means it's time for Wriscrivember. What? You've never heard of the first annual Wriscrivember? Or you've heard of it, but you're not clear on what it is? Well, I'll tell you. Starting on November 1st and going all month, this is your opportunity to write a script and get help on it. Whether you've written 1,000 scripts or never written one before, we welcome you to sign up for this amazing opportunity. But Alicia, you say, I'd love to do this, but I'm not a podcaster. Well, good news, you. This script doesn't have to be for a podcast, although it can be. You can write plays, films, YouTube videos, you name it. If it scripts, it fits. And they can be as long as you want. What's that? You're also worried about doing this all by yourself? Never fear. There's a whole community of people waiting to help you. I'll be by your side every step of the way, as will everyone else who signs up. We're all in this together. Now that you're ready to sign up, go to writeascriptinnovember.org to get started. You'll get the rest of the information you you need in emails by the internet and podcasting zone, Zach Valenti, with some help along the way from the internet's awesome indie creators. It's going to be an amazing adventure you won't want to miss.
So good. It's dense. It has all the information. And my concern with it is it sounded like an advertisement that I commissioned. Sorry, 1 second. We're recording some pickups for Wolf 359 here later, so I got to mind the time. What am I saying? What am I doing? What are we talking about? I need a drink of water. I love you guys in this chat. This is so beautiful. So much love. Bye, Eula. I see you're leaving. And just in general, I see a lot of people when they're leaving. I just want to say bye. Know that I really appreciate that you were here and notice that you're leaving. And just we wouldn't do anything if I was just saying hi and bye the whole time. So that was just phenomenal. And as I was listening to it, I was like, how would that make me feel in relationship to going to a website? And I think if I knew that I wanted to write a script, it would apply to me in a way that I feel like most people don't know that they want to write a script. I think it's something that is a good idea, but not a must have. And so I guess I was really excited about sort of a grittier feel that would also, just for my investment in making a commission in an artist, have Alicia go out into her world and poke it and be like, hey, learn about this thing. Cause that's the point, right? Is we're making a promo to be a promo. So why limit it to her recording in her room when it could be she's in a college campus? Say hi to people. And I think there's something beautiful in the textures of that kind of sound of being out and about and asking people stuff. And that's really what I wanted to capture in Focused AF season 1, the 60-day daily podcast that I did earlier this year, which again, you can find at focused.af, .com, but just .af because it's focused as fuck. But Sidewalks.xyz is my friend Mickey's podcast, and it's phenomenal. It's just got this crazy energy, and so I sent her that link and was like, could we try again and try something like this and just see what that feels like? And you nailed it, Alicia. Way to take a note. I won't play an episode of this. If you want to check it out, you can go check it out in your own time. Oh wow, you can't see the links. I'm pulling up these links. It's fine. Sidewalks.xyz, .com but .xyz. It's sort of trendy. I'm really into the other dots, and nobody above the age of I don't know, just basically people don't know that my sites are sites, which is a problem, but I think that'll change. I guess my personal ask of you guys is when that link goes live to share it with all your podcast friends, especially your friends that are in the audio drama world that may have been thinking they might want to write an audio drama and maybe just never found the time, or would love to do it with friends but don't want to do it alone. And we just would really love to push this tiny little dot that then it rolls down the mountain and becomes a giant boulder of audio dramas, and scripts and creativity. And at the end of the day, other people who are going to be in the email threads that you'll be getting on a weekly or bi-weekly or daily basis based on what you guys want to do. And I think if we get a lot of pushback from more frequent and people want it less frequently, because I know NaNoWriMo does daily, so I'm not sure what we should do. I'm not sure I can produce something meaningful every day while I'm doing a podcast. So it might just be a couple bullet points and notes from the community if it is daily, and the episode of whoever I'm interviewing. But I think that maybe that makes more sense to do a better quality thing at the end of the week. So I'm thinking out a lot of this stuff still. It's we're building the plane while we're flying the plane. So your input makes a big difference. But it would mean a lot to me, and I think make a difference, to invite people and let people know about this thing. It's not like it costs money. This is a suggested donation of $7 to United for Puerto Rico. If you give to me on Patreon, I feel like you've made an investment that like will produce more money. Like I have a goal of like $500 for United for Puerto Rico, and if the community doesn't hit that, I'm going to pay it out of my own wallet. I'm probably going to match it anyway. Yeah, my thing is like I just like would love to see that happen. I think I can confidently agree that if we hit $500 of people forwarding me their receipts of donations to United for Puerto Rico, and I think we're going to start to see people who don't watch this show and like don't like, that's I think an interesting place when we hit that level. And maybe we won't get there. I don't really care. At the end of the day, it's like a fun way for me to hang out with you guys on Sundays, to be like, wow, like I wrote all these scripts, and like next week I'm gonna have a YouTube video because I wrote a script that I couldn't not do, which happens when I have ideas, and I think I have too many ideas that aren't developed enough. And so I think this is going to be a great way for me to take a month and really invest some time in developing the raw material of the ideas into something that I can actually execute on. And is going to give me a fun way to relate with some friends that like I haven't had a reason to call, but now I can be like, hey, like you want to kick around an idea for a YouTube video? Like I've been thinking about this. What do you think about this? And so, yeah, so more on that later. In the meantime, I would love to welcome my friend Cathleen in to chat about some like social media self-care stuff. And we got like a very healthy like 15 minutes to talk about that. You down? Yeah. And like we should get you a mic. It's gonna take a sec to reset, so hang tight. I'm also gonna de-unicorn myself, but also can we just say what's the thing? What was it? Renaissance unicorn. I had Maximilian Defoe on the show a while ago, and we created the Renaissance unicorn thing, which may be what we call this community. I don't know. I think Self-Care Sunday is that for now. It might be Focused AF. I'm bad with names, but I also like making up lots of them because they're funny. And Renaissance Unicorns Unite. I also got to be careful what I do on this because you might meme me. Got to be careful about getting memed. So if you just want to fold your chair and pass it to me, I can unfold it on this side of the table. Hey, Tiffy, are you back? Great. And you can sit there, and we can work out this microphone. And then just lean back in the chair. Ooh. Uh-oh. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. I don't think we need them right now. Whoa. Yeah, we're not going to do a call-in right now, so we can put them down. Alrighty. Are we even in focus? 1 second. That'd be so funny if I've just been out of focus this whole time. Oh, man. Or is like the microphone in focus? I don't know. I'll be right back. I never did this before. This is smart. Tiffy cam has always been attached to something else, so when you move the chair, you lose the Tiffy cam. This is a much better design. Now we're in focus. Cool. So that was fun. Now, let's see. Can you say stuff?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I think that's good.
Okay.
Cool. You guys let us know in the chat if the volume's not great. So yeah, hi, welcome.
Hi.
It's
Hi.
wonderful to have you
Thanks for having me on.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome to have you here. It's fun to do this with a friend, and there's also that element of like I am just like talking to a computer, to people, but like through a computer, and like you're sitting right there, and that's funny. All right, so so we have like 10 minutes, and because it sounds like people are going to be here at 5 promptly, and I forgot about that. But basically, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. Like, there was just like a moment before the stream where I was like downstairs. You were like coming out of the bathroom, and like I was just like on my phone writing my friend in London, which when I think about it is like really exciting that I get to have a relationship with my friend in London. But like how many times a week am I like here when there are people here and I'm just like not being out here, and like just I feel like I'm not the only person who deals with like where is the line in social media and how do we be present and like connected in a world that is so digitally connected and like makes I think us feel more alone.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. It's like you can be in touch with like friends you're like never see on a regular basis.
Right.
But then what about the ones you do see? Why are you like chatting with the faraway ones when they're right there? And I think that's a problem I run into with a lot of people, like where like they're only half focused on their conversation with you, and they're also having a conversation with someone else at the same time.
Are you ever guilty of that, or do you?
Oh, well, I usually actually try to tell people what I'm doing, and I also have a habit of leaving my phone far away from me when I'm with people, so that works. But yeah.
When you do it with people, what do you say to like be aware?
I just let them know like if it's something I do need to respond to, that like what it is, because then they're like, oh, okay, you're responding to a work text, and they needed to hear that.
Right.
Instead of like, why are you ignoring me when I'm talking to you?
And so just like simply, because I feel like I do that with my friends of just like, I want to make sure that I'm like paying attention to you and like I'm managing a couple things. And so like I'll just look once in a while, but I don't want you to feel like I'm not present. And like I try to keep my phone like face down and like limit the notifications that are on my watch. So if I'm getting it on my watch. I was
gonna say, once you get it on your wrist, it's like constant.
It's like I think that it's like less of a matter of like unplugging and more of like how can we make a cascade of like, so my email I look at once a day and I like otherwise won't get notifications unless there's like somebody with a star on it that like a client I need to be attentive to or a friend that I know is dealing with something, so that like those make it through to like the thing that I'm shackled to. And like everything else is like something that I have a policy that I look at like at a certain cadence, like once a day or once a week. Yeah,
that's good. Have you ever like?
I don't do that, but I think I should.
Oh, definitely.
Like I do that. I do that like in the sense of like I started doing it, but I've never like strictly set up the filters properly. That like that's like if I were to do 100% of what I think should be done, that's what it would look like. And I have like a 50% there system right now.
I don't know. I was just thinking if you've ever like blacked out from the internet, like not gone on Twitter for a week or a day or whatever.
Not in years.
Yeah, you'll be surprised about how much better you feel.
Yeah.
Like really. I actually have been not reading a lot of Twitter lately, and I think it's been helping.
That's great.
Yeah, although Twitter, like on the other side of that coin, Twitter is how I keep in touch with a lot of people I don't see very often. So now I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I know Twitter has like lists, I guess you can like parse out like the bad news and just like see what your friends are up to.
So my friend Gabrielle and I had an idea for like for how we should use Twitter, like a best practice that I haven't tried, but I was thinking about trying. Maybe not this month because there's a bunch of stuff going on, but maybe next month. But this idea of like, what if you just had different Twitter accounts? So in the app, you could switch to the one where you follow no one. and it's or except your friends, and it's just like the friends Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's private, and it's just for people.
It's just for like stalking.
Well, yeah, right.
Well, not stalking, but like just paying attention to your friends.
Right, or it's just for like the 5 people that you talk with the most in life. That's just like you just like invite them into your like cluster like Sense8. And it's like you treat it that way, where it's like whatever you tweet
like
there is
MySpace's
sacred.
top 8 too.
Right. But like then you have another Twitter account that's like in a second like account, and you can just like flip where it's my news Twitter that I only open once a week. And then like I'm not allowed to look at it. And I like what if you could even set a timer that's like locked.
Oh yeah, that like locks you from
Right.
it. Yeah.
And then you have another one
that's
that's like
that you could make for friends that like lock you out of Twitter.
I mean, I think you could use the Twitter API to just build a reader for Twitter that
Yeah.
would make it work this way, which is what's so cool about. I've been talking my friends' ears off about decentralized technology. I work for a company called Blockstack, blockstack.org. If you're a developer and you're interested in the future of like human civilization, check them out and talk to me. Like drop me a line at zach@uplift.is is my email. Or call in on Anchor, zach.fm, or like leave a comment, whatever. Just like get at me. I'm like available. I guess like what do you think is like the medicine for that in culture?
I don't know. I can't. I don't know if I can solve that problem.
Well, right. But like,
Like-
I guess what do you think would make a difference? Like, what do you think would leave today better than tomorrow if we did something? Like, if we behaved differently, and like if everybody here like tried an experiment.
I don't know. I just think in general, just being more present in your life, and like, I don't know. I guess it's like kind of it's almost like a mindfulness thing, you know, where you're just like in each moment instead of like worried about what's going on outside.
So glad you said that.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I wanted to have Cathleen on, just because I feel like. So I'm reading this book by Sam Harris, who I was initially turned off from because he wrote some things about like Islamophobia that like I had feelings about. So I like had a picture of him in my mind as somebody who was an unreasonable person that I couldn't agree with. And I just finished his audiobook on lying, and I'm going back through it again. It's called Lying. And it's actually remarkable. And it has had me really look at how I live my life. And I think I was driving myself nuts, focused on like building an audience. Like that's something that's worth anything. Like that's an interesting goal. Just to build an audience, because like I thought that's what I needed to do to have a career as an artist. And I think that it is true that if you want to make a living as an artist, you do like that. Those are your customers.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that's a thing, and that's why I have a Patreon at patreon.com/ZachValenti. But like, I don't want to advertise it like, basically I was just like getting really stressed out about making this perfect.
Yeah.
And it was just a lie that it was Self-Care Sunday, because I was like tearing my hair out, getting really mad at my computer and at the world, and like when the internet wasn't working, rather than getting creative about like, well, if this isn't working, what if I just did Self-Care Sunday from the park on my phone while the internet's getting fixed for the next month? And like have it be about like, now I'm just going to be present in the park, and like maybe that'll be with a good friend and like a book. And then the phone, and like we can just put it up on a thing, and like then that's like the stream. Or like I could bring Project Uplift out to Central Park, which I said I was going to do all summer and didn't do, because I just was focused on what I thought I should be focused on and dealing with. And just like I think that I have a personal capacity. I appreciate you listening. It's helpful to,
of
like,
course.
articulate this, but I guess like the thing that I want to leave you guys with as we say goodbye in the next couple minutes is I feel like I was disingenuous with you guys as I was hosting Self-Care Sunday without taking time for my own self-care. And last Tuesday, my grandma passed away, and I had the divine privilege, and I'm not a religious person, I just like felt the presence of something that I can't explain in relating with her and being with her as she passed, and really getting to love her in a way that somebody told me love could be which is accepting someone exactly the way they are and exactly the way that they're not. And that in the clearing of the space that you grant them, in your love, they're perfect right now. And I thankfully, and last week, if you check out last week's video, it's still not online on Lynn Preston's YouTube channel, who's a client of mine, who's an amazing therapist that I'm going to have on the show soon. And so if there are people who want to have a, like not a long session, but like a brief free session with an amazing, like world-renowned therapist, please do let me know. We're going to be doing that soon. She had a conversation with me that was a mic test that became a therapy session about my relationship with my grandma. And I got clear with her what was present with my grandma, and then was able to be with my grandma and just like give her that gift of like, your life was perfect the way it was. I know you wanted to be an actor and you didn't, but guess what? I got to do that. I got to be in the audio drama that you tried out for when you were my age and it didn't work out. And I got to be who I got to be because of the foundation that you created by creating my mom and being the mom that you were for her, that she is the lady she is. And so like the George Bernard Shaw quote of like, life is no brief candle. For me, it is like this torch. Like I was getting a little pretentious, but like I felt the freaking torch being passed as she passed, and promised her that I'd keep talking to her. So hi, Grandma. Welcome to Self Care Sunday. She like made me swear that I would never stop chatting with her and sharing what matters to me, and asking her for her feedback and thoughts. And so like I'll be doing that until I die, if death is a thing when we're at that age. There's some interesting YouTube videos you should check out about that, but maybe I'll put those in the notes. But we have a couple minutes. I guess like, thank you for being on.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me.
And like, any sort of final thoughts after that ramble?
I don't know. It's nice that you were able to have that like last moment with your grandma. Yeah. And that was something that like, I'm sure you pulled away from your screens for, because it was really important, right? So it's like,
yeah,
I also feel like it's important to like have those relationships with people, like good relationships, and be on good terms with people, like even family members. Like after the election, I know a lot of us are struggling with some family members, me too, but like I still love them. I just like don't like
what they're saying and believing and acting. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I have the same problem. I have family members that have brought parts of my family together that were never going to be together, that voted for somebody that I just don't understand and think is really dangerous. And so I'm not sure how to make that work, but I do want to make it work, and I'm more interested in its workability than my rightness. Yeah. And I don't know how to square that circle, but
I feel like you just got to listen to people and see what their actual fears are and talk to them. And it's like on a one-on-one basis, which is why it's going to be hard to like spread.
Right. And I think that opting out of social media and opting back in with some mindfulness under our belts to just, I don't know, just kind of like find that balance with it. Because I just think it's like, it's a bicycle that we're still learning to ride, and we're just like mostly eating shit. Yeah. We're mostly falling over the handlebars every day in how we behave on Twitter and these things.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, in, I don't know how many years, how long has Twitter been around? Since 2007, 2008. So it's like a decade. So there are like kids who are going to be on Twitter soon who would have never known a world before Twitter, basically.
Wow.
Like, and you'll be coming up there from a young age. I mean, there's like an age limit, I'm sure, on like Twitter, but from like, I always say I'm so glad that Twitter did not exist when I was in high school, because I don't have to look back on like all the dumb stuff I said.
Isn't
and
that
like,
amazing?
yeah, it's like, cause like I can see like how my thought process changed by just based on like that. But if someone can go search the things I said and like use them against me in any way, that's
right. And it's scary because like I can imagine being in middle school or high school and having people like, I opt out, but then other people have their phones. Yeah. And I'm just part of their stories and part of their, Like
Yeah.
I still exist online.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, everything on the internet is like pretty much permanent.
Right.
Like even if you delete the tweet, you don't know who screen capped it.
Yeah, and it's just So anyway, so like I appreciate you coming on the show to sort of like keep me present today, because
Yeah.
I think that that is something that I want to keep present in this show, is just a sense of presence and consciousness, and where I'm being haphazard, I want it to be clear that I'm being haphazard, like when this starts. I have no idea when this is going to start next week. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be in LA. So it might be earlier, it might be later. I will probably share on the Wriscrivember list, like when this will be happening, and I encourage you to follow there. But it'll also be on Twitter, and probably, yeah, I would say those two places are the best places to follow. But really, if you want to know when I go live, just sign up for notifications here on YouTube. That's the best way to know when I'm going to go live. It's the only platform that I do this sort of format on. I do some other stuff on Instagram, but yeah, just like if you want more of me, you know where to find me, which is everywhere. And I would like to get more intentional over the next couple months with my social media consumption and focus more on production and producing more things for people that like want to slow down. So that, which is ironic, because like I don't want everybody to just be like all over that, but I think it's like creating different products for you guys to share with people in your life that you want to be more related on, who might be addicted to the social media, and like you want to work on that with them, like maybe because you also think you're that way. And I think the best way to work with people is to admit what's there with you. And yeah, I gotta run, but I love you guys, and I hope you're enjoying this, and please do let me know any thoughts or feedback on any platform about how today was and what you'd like to see next week.
Yeah. Bye. Have a great Sunday.
Okay, there's a button. Where's the button? Somewhere under iTunes window, there's a stop streaming button, and then